Oh boy, I'll be glad to get out of here. G'day everybody. So we just had a false start. I'm hoping that this is now transmitting on MGR's Facebook page and on YouTube as well. If we're lucky, it will be. I might see some people pop up. We had a false start. We were still on the Transact page and we had 5 people or so, 10 people start to turn up, and then I realized what was going on. Jane had seen it. So now we should be on MGR. Sadly, we're still on very slow internet in Antigua, but this could be the very last time we're doing this in Antigua, which is good. And we're actually on our way to pick up our Starlink. Those who know the saga of the broken down car, it was finally fixed about a week ago in Portugal. So when we leave here, which is tomorrow, Rob's already left. He left today. Jane and I leave tomorrow. We head back to London and then Paris, and then we overnight. Then we fly straight down to Portugal and hopefully pick up the car and our rib and drive back over the weekend. Oh, people are commenting, so that means they're getting it. G'day, everybody. And then when we get the car and the rib back, it should be Monday of next week, I think. So these updates will be random in nature. I can't predict exactly when they're going to be going forward because we're literally traveling for 5 days or something all over the place. But whenever we stop somewhere and we get a minute, we will actually kick it in and give you another update. It's all going pretty smooth at the moment, but anyway, we'll go straight to the tracker. I think it's about 9:30 in Europe at the moment, so we're still botching it up, but we'll see. And in fact, we were very busy. It was a fantastic start, but I'll talk about all that after the tracker. And we'll talk a bit about what's going on and how we're going to move forward from here. So good to see those that are turning up. And here we go. Let's try and get this tracker on here. So you're looking at the tracker now. I'm looking at it as well. I've got to slide this up here to make it a bit bigger. I'm not sure what's going to happen here when I turn the wind on. So just before I do that, I'm just going to show you a couple of things that are going on because the internet is very slow. We're on our phone internet now. And we will explain a few things. First thing I want to do is just explain about Gary, question 2 up here. So here's Antigua, and here is question 2. Not technically an entrant in the MGR at the moment. He's still completing his qualifier. He's got about another 500 miles to go. No, 400 miles to go maybe. You've got to do 600 miles. He did a bit the other day, but he has to do 600 miles now solo non-stop from Antigua, which he is actually currently doing. And that means sometime later this week, he'll come back into Falmouth Harbour, onto the dock at the National Sailing Academy, have a day or two break, and then he'll take off again, across the start line and carry on. Although the clock has already started on the first leg, so technically once, if he does qualify, becomes an official entrant in the MGR. The clock started yesterday, the same as everyone else, so it's going to be a long leg for this one, but he's just keen to get going and catch up with the fleet and so on. So I'll talk a bit more about that in a sec. So here's the fleet. I'll just give you a look before I put the wind on, then I'll put the wind on just so you can see what's happening, because that wind graphic may slow everything down. It's kind of interesting to see how it's all going. We'll start we'll start at the back of the fleet, I think. Captain Popeye is down here, still plodding along, 4.7 knots, doing okay. He's past the 24-hour limit now because we started at 11:30, as you know. It's now 5:30 in the afternoon here, sun's still up. And he's done 92-mile day. That's not too bad, hanging in there. So no adverse reports from Popeye. Sun Bear, Eric, he had a little issue which slowed him up a bit, besides the fact that he ran aground. Crikey, what a nightmare that was. We'll talk about that when we, I'll just talk about it now. I saw him during the broadcast rather. You probably saw what was going on. You know, Niels and I were talking about it. I thought, what's he doing? He's just roaring out of the track area, and I couldn't see anyone in the cockpit. And we were discussing it. In the end, I was a bit concerned that I figured if he had fallen overboard, it's a pretty good place to do it. If you did it, touch wood, it never happens, but it's in the harbour, and I couldn't see anyone in the cockpit. And I thought, no, the boat's just running away. he kept going, and then I thought, maybe he's collapsed in the cockpit. So between us, we decided we better hoot. So we went down there, and just as we got there, I could see he was about to go up on the slide up onto the reef. It's sort of a soft reef. It wasn't crunching hard. He just slid up onto it, and then you probably saw we didn't want to stick around because there was a lot at stake with the start of the race. He was in absolutely no danger. There was no waves, no nothing. He was fine, and we assisted to push him around to get the sails on the other side. And then we said, we'll be back, bolted to the start, but he sailed off himself. So you probably saw what happened. The caption wasn't right in the picture in the press release, because he literally, while he was still on there, he put sails up, couldn't heel enough, couldn't get going. So he put the spinnaker up, and he literally pulled himself out with the spinnaker. So he was last across the line. Anyway, then while he's been sailing, he's got a spinnaker pole track, like a sliding track on the leading edge of the mast, which I saw the other day when I did the technical picture gallery for Sun Bear. And I thought, that's interesting, because normally you just go with a ring. It's a lot simpler, a lot more secure. But something happened to that track. I think it might have started to pull out of the mast, and it slowed him up a bit. But he must currently be underway. Anyway, he's bolted a bit further, a bit deeper than the others. Nonetheless, doing okay. 98-mile day, averaging 4.7 knots for the last 4 hours. I think they're on 4 hourly now. Yeah, so that's 8 o'clock stop. So that's okay. Skookum down here. So both Skookum's doing 4.3, 96-mile day, exactly the same as Eric. This is a whole new ball game for them. It's a new deal, sailing, trade winds, downwind, all that sort of stuff. So that could be part of the whole issue of them being at the back of the fleet. I would have thought they probably would normally perform a little bit better than that, but I think they're just settling in, and there's a long way to go. I'm quite certain that Sun Bear is a performance sailor, and I would have thought he'd be right up with the leaders at the moment. But again, settling into the boat may be. Watch this space. Tracker, Ayrton, he's just having a great time. And that's exactly where I'd expect him to be. He has one interest and one interest only. That's to get around the world safely and enjoy the ride. And he actually rang me just as the sun was setting last night. So the sun's setting behind him on the camera. It was live via Starlink, and he was very emotional and very super happy. He's having a drink, sailing along at about 4 knots, pretty well flat seas, having an absolute ball. And the whole issue of the MGR sunk in big time, and he was very excited. So BB's back there. Jacob, 4.7, 103-mile day, keen to improve his performance. So a little bit better maybe than last time, but a long way to go. So too early to tell. Peter Punt, she was right up there for a while, but then dropped back a bit. So, in the first few hours, she was right up there hanging on to the leaders. But now 4.1 knots, 102-mile day. This could be because of the conditions, not quite enough wind to do something. Not sure. Argo, we had some messages from him. He's doing okay, happy. Just talking about the phone calls. They all missed their satellite phone call last night. None of them read the notice of race, obviously. Sailing instructions. They were supposed to start ringing last night to talk about the excitement of the MGR, but Graham was sitting there waiting, and no one called except for Renaud, and he wasn't meant to call. He's next week, I think it goes. But anyway, we're on to it, and we'll work out what we do. So no satellite phone calls this week by the look of it. Number 2, Jasmine, check that out. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blokes behind her. So something's happened there. I'm not sure what it is, but she's doing really well, and that's good to see. She's getting into the groove, I think, and no complaints. Doing 5 knots when everyone else is doing 4.5. Doing 109 nautical mile day, that's very impressive. So good things can come of this. Let's hope she holds on to that. And John's over here, a little bit higher on the top end of the course, 5.1 knots, 113-mile day. Doing okay. Then Little Wren was fallen a little bit behind previously, had not such a spectacular start, crosses the line without a head sail and popped a kite going out through the heads, and then completely lost it once we were out in the ocean and started rounding up and turning inside out, all sorts of things. It was fun to watch, but not much value for them. But it was beautiful weather. Just we had not a huge squall, but there was a big cloud came through, and whenever you get under the clouds, the wind picks up. So it was, sort of sitting 20-25 out there, and then it had some bigger puffs, and it was quite interesting to see, but they're all pretty good. Little B, look at that, 5.5 knots. So you can see why they're up the front. They're actually sailing considerably faster than others, 120 mile a day, which is quite admirable. Happy to be there. And then look at Captain Coconut. He's flying. Jeepers. He's absolutely screaming along 6 knots and struggling to keep up with the 580s. But I think that might change. Anyway, he's on their hammer, and he's very close to Origami. So that'd be fun. He's probably chasing them down. I think he's able to see where they are, and he might try and pass them, take some photos and things like that. But we'll have to wait and see. So for those that don't know about Captain Coconut, he's sailing Coconut, the name of the boat. Mark is a veteran of the the Golden Globe race, and he also skippered our boat Explorer, the Swan 57, in the recent Ocean Globe race, as the fully crewed race, and came last. It was very impressive. And they all had good fun. So that's cool. So 2 circumnavigations, 1 fully crewed, 1 solo, and now he's off again with his partner, and they'll take off and follow the fleet all the way around the world. So he's like a pace boat, and it gives us a committee boat in every leg stopover, and it's just a bit of fun. So we put him up on the tracker as well. So Origami, now poor old Kerry. I think most of you have probably realised by now he has no wind vane for this leg. It was returned from a service a bit late and wasn't quite right. There was a few things that didn't allow it to be fitted onto the boat, so he has no wind vane. He had 2 electric autopilots, which you're allowed to carry in the MGR. One of them failed in the Transat, was getting hammered a bit, transatlantic race, and he's just got 1 of those left now. Now, the issue with the electric autopilot, it's nice to use if you don't have a wind vane, but they're by no means powerful enough to drive the boat in what I'd call normal trade winds if you've got a big kite up, because if it rounds up, the apparent wind is so great it just can't respond. It's not strong enough. So Kerry would have to be hand steering, and he can't hand steer all the time. Of course, he's got to get sleep. So to be where he is without a wind vane, not knowing the conditions totally, is pretty impressive. He's still hanging in there, and he did that for the 600 miles in the qualifier as well. He basically didn't have the use of the wind vane for that, going into Lanzarote and Rubicon Marina. So he knows the game. We'll have to just see. But if he gets a bit of luck, he might be able to try and keep up with them. But it's quite an epic to do that without a wind vane. Now here's the next surprise. Dan, the holiday man, might not be on holiday anymore. He might have been keeping it under wraps while he was doing the transatlantic without telling everyone or letting everyone know that he's really quite hot. And he should be quite hot because he's done 2-handed Melbourne Osaka race. He's been sailing for a long time. He knows his boat now. And it could be said that, maybe it's because he's changed the mounting system of the hydrovane, but I doubt it. I think it could be that may add to his performance, but I really think it's the fact that he's settled in. He had a great stop over here in Antigua and at the Sailing Academy. Nikki, his wife, was here, and they were looking pretty organised, pretty set. I think his wife probably gave him a big boost. She's not coming to Panama. The next stop, I think, will be Fiji. But I think it just settled him down a bit as well. But he's performing really well. So 5.6 knots, 128 mile day, which is impressive. Now, you might think that little thing above Capuchinet is a crown, saying that he's the winner. It's not. It's actually the cake that he's just baked, because he's no doubt just sitting out there cruising along, cooking dinner and baking cakes again, just doing what he does well. It was very interesting at the start. Some of you may not have seen the commentary. I brought it up very early on when we were out there. It was just so easy to see what happened and how he got ahead so quickly, because basically he cut the corner, which you do if you're trying to get to a particular position, and you can cut the corner when if you leave the turn too late, you're sailing away from the mark, and you're just wasting however long you're out going the wrong way. And of course, as soon as he got out, he just snuck around the corner and kept going. And within sort of 10 minutes, he's 400 meters in front. Purely because he's thinking about where he's sailing, and that was very smart. It was a reflection on the way he sails. He sails straight lines all the time. This is a pretty straight course going to Panama, but he just seems to be doing everything right. So he's got the longest daily average, 130 miles in the 24 hours, and he's doing 5.8. So he's sailing well, he's sailing smart, and that's why he's in front. Simple as that. Now that we've gone through all this, no use looking at it. I can show you the leaderboard. I'm going to put the wind in it the wind graphic over it in a minute, just so you can see what the weather is. But before we do, here's the graphic. They've got distance to finish just under 1,000 miles. So yeah, it's all around 1,000 miles. We won't look at the estimated time of arrival at the moment because it just depresses me. It's going to be pretty quick. They're making good time. When they left, you probably saw, if you're looking at the tracker straight away, a whole bunch of them was averaging 7 knots over the initial periods, which were shorter time frames. So it went 4 hours between positions, but they were averaging 7 knots for a while, which shows they really hoot. So that's pretty cool. But I think that we'll see. I think we'll see them start to arrive late on the 4th and the 5th, and that's really clever because we arrive on the 6th. But anyway, we won't talk about that yet. Yeah, it's pretty much line abreast, so that's fine. You can see what goes on there. Little B, little Ren, Delta 100, number 2, Delta 100, number 2. Oh, that's okay. That's interesting because yeah, they're very close and so on. So that's pretty straightforward. This is a brief one because they haven't really gone a long way. Let's see what happens when we put the wind in. I think I'm going to lose it. So that's there. Will we get the breeze? Oh, we have. Okay, so that's pretty cool. All coming from the east. That's to be expected. It's a trade wind route, and that looks as if it's like 15 to 20, somewhere in there. 15 knots. Very pleasant sailing for them. Seas would be right down. Seas would be, less than 2 meters. Let's see if we can get the waves now. We might be lucky here. Might be lucky. Anyway, it's certainly, yep, there you go. That's less than 2 meters. It's only a meter and a bit. So it's pretty calm sailing. They'll be having a fantastic time right now. It's as good as it gets, and they're all racing. And where are they going to? Just to give you a perspective again on what's happening. So I'll just show you something about what goes on here. So there's the rum line going all the way through to Panama. There's some currents to hook into here. There's a big current stream over here. Here you go. Okay. So you want to, if you can, make the most of that current. So the rum line goes straight across like that. But if you just come down here a little bit, say you were down heading towards Willemstad and you got to about here. So you angle it across. You just come down there and you haven't lost much, but then you can sit in this current and then ride it across like that. You do get a little bit, and then you just turn it off and go down. That helps. This is going to be interesting here. You can see it's all going the wrong way. So somehow you got to decide you don't want to come down here and try and do it. You're probably better off cutting there, cut through the middle like that, even come up a little bit. And oh no, you can't. You got to be there, but you'd want to cut that stream across here reasonably well. It's probably a bit small, but you can see there. There's some challenges coming in there. And if the wind's coming the other way, this can get really sloppy. So that would probably mean chomping through this way and try and sneak around the corner, I think. Anyway, they will have worked out their sail plan. I warned them all about the currents. Interesting when you leave here. Look at that. Boom. Big one. Okay, so we'll just see what the wind is doing for Gary up here. The current's going against him a little bit, but the wind should be pretty good. When he was doing this, I said, listen, Gary, what you got to do is sail wherever you go, keep the wind just forward of the beam. So when you turn the corner, you're not locked out. You haven't gone downwind or anything. And that's pretty much what he's doing. He came straight up here. He's tacked across. He'll come right around now. He'll come down this way. Who knows? He's just doing a few more miles, maybe back and forwards, and then head back down in, and he's on his way. All right, that's enough for that. Not much else I can tell you on that one. So if I go back here and hit this, there I am. Okay. By the way, the reason I don't have an MGR shirt on because Jane is doing all the washing at the moment because we're going to see no washing machine for after tomorrow until the next 5, 6, 7 days. So I just had to grab the only shirt I could. This is actually a Buller shirt, and if you know anything about geography, Buller shirt is from Fiji. And in fact, I bought this in Fiji because we're all going to Fiji. We're going to Vuda Marina, which is fantastic. So if you ever wanted to try and catch up with the guys and girls in the mini globe race, Fiji's the place to go. It's a great place to visit, and everyone at Vuda Marina is fantastic. We're going to be moored in an awesome place right there. And think of it as we'll have our own pool, basically, and we'll look good, and it'll be fantastic, and there'll be a lot going on. I know a lot of the families are coming in, so So that's kind of great. So just a bit of a wrap. We everything that's happened here during the stopover has been great. It was kind of convenient and very valuable for the entrants to have such a quick trip across the paddock, because they basically got a free week here. When we did the planning, it was to be about 2 weeks. And because they all arrived early, it was about 3 weeks. And that worked in very well. They all had a great time doing different things, getting their boats right and so on. As you know, if you followed any of the lives, the functions, we really do have a great warm relationship with the National Sailing Academy. All great people. They do incredible things with all the young kids here, free training, all that sort of stuff. And it's just a perfect place. It's not on the other side of Falmouth Marina. We can sail the boats into the bay. So this is our third major visit, and the next one will be when the boats retire. And I think this is going to go on for a long time. Both of us, the Academy and ourselves, have got some good ideas and plans. So it's going to be fun when we see them come back. It's a bit early to talk about returning, but we're all going to look forward to it, and we'll kind of miss the place. So Niels is still here with his boats, quiet down there on the marina, just his boat by himself. Anyway, it's been great. So thanks for National Sailing Academy on everything that's happened here as well. We were really happy with everything associated with the boat's departure. They're a bunch of hopeless idiots, though, I've got to tell you. And I could say that across the board, because they never listen to what you tell them. They had all the safety inspections to do, and they were inspecting each other. We'd match up, like entrant A would do a safety check on entrant B, and then they'd report on the sails. And we made them put, they had to enter a GPS coordinate position, like a latitude and longitude, and then report the range and bearing to that position that we gave them, so that if we ever call them up and say, you need to go to this latitude and longitude, they at least know how to do it, because they might need to go and assist someone or something. And just sail counts, and to try and get this bunch of school kids to try and get that organised was like a nightmare. Anyway, they were all good. We're all good mates and stuff. But what I have stressed, what I'm leading into, is the game's changed now. We're all great mates, and the vibe is incredible. It really is family. And I think it's fair to say that Jane and I are part of that group. We might be the parents, I don't know, but we're part of it. But they now know well and truly we are absolutely ruling the roost very, very carefully and very specifically against the notice of race, because there is a set of rules, and now you break the rules, you're out of the race, or you're not, you're going to get penalties and all this sort of stuff, because some people, the race side is very important, and it needs the respect that it deserves as an around the world race, even though they're all independent voyages. We're divorced a bit. It's like there's a firewall between the entrants and us. They're doing their own thing, but we're helping coordinate it and giving it some rules to a game. And that game is very important, more important to some than others. So, and it puts us in a very difficult position sometimes, because, if you've got to tell your mate off, it's really hard. Or if you've got to give someone a penalty and they're your friends, it's very hard. But I tried to explain and make them all realise that this is a game. They've signed on for the rules. The rules will be upheld at all times, and they better start obeying them now, because they're actually in it. And I think at the end they got it, but there was still, trying to get all the paperwork. Jane and I have been flat out with the paperwork, make sure the trackers are working. We've got the right tracker unit. We've got the right satellite phone numbers. And we've got the safety book done. So we sent that to all the rescue coordination centres and so on. We actually had a false alarm. We had a bit of a drama on, on Saturday, I think. On Saturday, Gary was out sailing his qualifier and not officially part of anything as a private individual. While he does his qualifier, he's not part of the event even. And we got the word back through MRCC in Australia that went to the Rescue Coordination Centre in Martinique, and then they got on to say, hey, we've got a PLB on the go. And so it took us 2 hours to finally make contact with Gary from the initial calls we got, and go through, close up the tracking timeline from the 4 hours. We're talking to their managers, and one of them was in the air. And anyway, we closed it up for 15 minutes, and then we could quickly, or the rescue coordination centres could quickly determine that there was no separation from the PLB signal and the tracking position of the boat. In other words, if he had fallen over, he would be swimming in the water and the boat would sail away. And so then when we got both positioned, you could see that extending, and you say, yep, he's in the water, and they know where he is, and they go and get him. Touch wood. But there was no separation. Okay, so that means he's either hanging over the side and turned it on, or it's a false alarm. But because we couldn't get to him with the communications, we had to sit tight, and we provided all the information, and you could see through the operations and processes that were taking place, they weren't far away from launching a plane to go out and overfly Gary's position to see what was going on. But fortunately, Gary, who had gone down for a sleep, woke up, and we'd sent messages on the YB3 and things like that. And so we got the contact from Gary, and all was well. So that was kind of interesting. But we, well and truly versed on all that stuff, and it all worked out fine. That's how it should do. So let's see how it goes. So what can I tell you about what's going on? Eric had the issue with the Spinnaker track, and we got a couple of other messages. I've completely forgotten now what they were. It's been a busy day, but everyone's pretty happy. We know that everyone's going through. Dan was Holiday Dan was very apologetic about me missing the phone call, and we'll now decide tonight whether we want to reschedule it for tomorrow or the next day or whatever. Because for those that don't know, each of the entrants will make one phone call every other week. So if there's a phone call now, half the fleet make the phone call. They'll make it last night, and then the other half of the fleet makes it next Monday. Okay, and so over a 2-week period, we talk to everyone, and those calls go to Graham, who then puts his impressive weekly report together, and that's how it goes. So we've got to work that out. Anyway, I think that's enough. I'm just going to quickly go through the questions here to see if there's any, and just say g'day, and let's see how it goes. One thing I'm probably going to do, I thought about this wrap up from the Transat. I don't do a standalone question session, right? So by answering all the questions here and everything, it's just good for you guys that are watching and log on, which is great. We love it, but it doesn't allow others who are not listening to this whole, watching this whole video, come back to see the comments and the questions. So I think we might revert. We'll always answer questions here, but I'll also start up standalone question and answer sessions, and you'll see this cube come up with question mark on it, and it'll be, if you've got a question, put your questions in the comments, and then I'll do a direct live here, just answering the questions that come in. That way people can just log on to that one and see me answer the questions, which generates even more questions on the comments here, and it's just a pure session of question and answers. And because we're now getting questions, the system allows us to see the comments and questions on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. It could work quite well. So as we get further down the track, that's the plan. So we'll see how it goes. So g'day John, g'day Pete, another John, g'day Warren. How did the boats get through the canal? Okay, so this has been a big subject of for quite some time. We started working with Shelter Bay Marina. Shelter Bay Marina is where we go once the boats go through the 2 breakwaters. In fact, at one of the next live updates, I'll show you a picture of the finish, which is 2 massive breakwaters that come out to protect the entrance of the Panama Canal. They go through the gap, and as soon as they go through the gap, that's the finish line. They turn right, and they go to Shelter Bay Marina. Now, back in June last year, I made the first contact to them. Said, hey, here we are, MGR, 15 or 18 boats. We need to pull out, take the mast off, put them on a trailer or a truck, and take them over the other side to Flamenco Bay Marina. And they came, and I said, we need someone wondering if someone can help us coordinate, and so on. So that was the plan. They come back and said, yep, all really good. That's cool, dandy. Let's do it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but they said they'll come back to me. A few months later, I got back and said, hey, this is what we want to do, blah, blah, blah. And they said, oh, yeah, okay, can you answer all these questions and stuff? They gave me pictures of the boats and plans and design and blah, blah, blah. Nothing happened. Got back in December, blah, blah, blah. Waiting, nothing happened. Got back in January, blah, 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 nothing happened. And then finally, the day before the start, on Friday, the weekend before the start, last Friday, we finally got to the point where they said, we can't help you. So now there's a few things going on to establish that. The principle is the boats will arrive at the marina. You get 3 of the entrants together, and you can undo the rigging and lay the mast down without a crane. So that mast will go on the deck. And then when it's on the deck, the travel lift will come along, and there'll be a trailer of some sorts with a cradle or something, and the boat goes on that, and the vehicle then tows it across to the other side, and then hopefully at the travel lift of Flamenco Bay Marina, which is on the spit when you come out of the canal, we'll ask the travel lift there to put them back in the water, and hopefully they've got some space for us all to raft up on some part of the marina that's not being used by others, and we can pay the rent there, and that's how we're on the other side. So that's the principle. But we've now started again on the whole process this past weekend, and we've got 2 or 3 things happening ready to make that happen. But watch this space. So we're going overland, and we'll wait and see how it pans out. So Clapperton. Jasmine's going well. Yeah, it sure is. G'day, Roger. Rachel Simmons, great start. Yesterday, Don. Thank you for the organising this wonderful. Yeah, it's fun, eh? We really had a great day yesterday. It was just perfect. So, excellent. We were excited about a few things. People on the beach, on Pigeon Beach, were having fun. We did a count. We were counting over 25 tenders, so I think there was about 30 odd tenders from all the moored boats there, big ones, little ones, and stuff. Some guy turns up. We didn't manage to get the good pictures. He's playing the bagpipes on this big black rib. I don't know who it was. And we didn't take any. We missed the photos because we only got over that side as the gun went. We're all busy, and we sort of saw it. But I don't know who it was, but it was really cool. So the bagpipes are playing. The boats are roaring along. All the tenders are hoo-haring. And I wanted to do a selfie with all the tenders and get them together, but we didn't have time. So, yeah, it was pretty excellent for sure. Today, Sebastian, Val. Transport overland, yeah. Biting Midgey would be great to have the current overlay on the tracker if that's possible. It was terrific to watch the Atlantic race. Yeah, good. Yeah, we put it up, so I hope you saw that. Peter Punt, yep. How will they transit the canal? Also, servo versus auxiliary rudder wind vane preference for this race. Okay, so they're going across by road. That's easy. Servo versus auxiliary rudder. It's a very interesting point. I'll be brutally honest in my personal opinion. Okay, that's all. This is my opinion. A fin keel boat with an outboard rudder is ideally suited to a servo pendulum system. Okay, they're very quick to respond, and if you service your unit right and it's a good one, servo pendulum is going to do a good job. Okay, that's my opinion. Now I know the Hydrovane really well. It's not quite, but generally speaking, the Hydrovane is without question the best of the auxiliary rudder auxiliary rudder wind vane systems commercially available. It's really good. They work really well, and they have their place for sure. One of the beauties of it for the 580, which is part of the reason that some of the entrants have gone with that, is it's not cheap, but it's super duper engineering, really as solid as a rock. Sailing a boat like the 580, it should go around the world a couple of times without any problems. And it's plug and play. You can put it on the back of the boat, and that's all you do. You forget about it. You don't have ropes, and you don't have this, that, and the other. And we even allow a central installation if that's part of what the skipper decides they want to do. Because I have faith in the strength and engineering of the Hydrovane to replace the actual existing outboard rudder, which actually saves a bit of weight. And there you go. So, the choice then beyond that information is entirely up to the skipper. Who was it? Eric on Sunday just fitted a brand new South Atlantic gear, and I was impressed because over the years, the South Atlantic have been listening to what's been happening on various little things, and they've revamped the system. You can see some of the photos on Eric's technical gallery in the posts on Facebook, the photographic gallery of the boat. Beautiful boat. It's doing really well, so well. And those photos of the new model that just went on. And I sailed across with the South Atlantic, on Tracker, the original South Atlantics, and it was fine. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So, yeah. No simple answer for that, and a lot of personal preference from the skippers themselves. I have input all the sailing data I have to date for the Mini Globe and into an Excel sheet. Now I have to learn how to do the graphs again. Excel then I can forward the graphs to you. I suspect adding the data into an Access database might be a better solution, but sadly I don't have access. Don't know. Okay, yeah, we're going to get the data because Alenka in Australia is also a computer programmer, and she has the ability to create super sophisticated software programs to extract all sorts of data. So we'll get something happening shortly. But to be honest, I've fallen behind on that one because I was supposed to get back to Alenka sometime ago as well. So I'll let you know what's happening. I got your message on Facebook as well. How is question 2 doing with his qualification sale? We had a chats to him, communications on WhatsApp, back and forwards today. He's doing okay. He turned around, coming back. He's not coming back. He's still sailing the requirement, but he thinks he'll be back later this week. So we're just locking that in. We'll be gone, but Alison and the guys and girls at the National Sailing Academy will welcome him back onto the dock, and then he's away. So my policy is a book a day and 100 miles a day, so everyone is in the ballpark. Yep, that's cool. Hi, Mike. It can get very sloppy, choppy as you get close to Panama. You can see why, because you've got an easterly breeze, like a trade wind coming through, and you've got a westerly going current. Now, wind against current is really ugly. It's not nice at all. So we'll see. Nice shirt. Oh, thanks, Adrian. Yeah, Buller shirt from Voodoo Marina. Really looking forward to that. Of course, we've got our boat there as well. So when we finally get there, we'll be back on the boat, on the water, and there we will stay for 6 months. Kind of nice. In fact, we just, waffle on. It's not the weekend, I know, but when we were coming back, we took the big rib around to English Harbour today to fuel it up, leave it full, because Dennis let us use the boat for everything for free, which is great. Anyway, so we filled it up, and as I was coming back, I was saying, when we did the next one, the next mini globe race in 2029, there's no requirement for us to even go to Panama, because the whole idea of this is that this independent voyage is going through, blah, 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 and if we didn't want to, we wouldn't have to. We could actually let the entrants manage their own processes across Panama, and we bring it back to being at all of the leg stopovers, okay? Because as you probably know, we're not actually going into the other subports. We're not going to Marquesas, we're not going to Papeete, we're not going to Tonga. We'll be waiting in Fiji when they get there. And then when they leave Fiji, they'll possibly going to Darwin or Thursday Island or Indonesia when they do their stopovers, whatever. They have to go to Cocos Keeling. We won't be going there. They have to go to Mauritius, and we're not planning to go to Mauritius. They'll be Port Louis. And we won't go to the other stopovers if they decide to go to Durban or Port Elizabeth around to Cape Town. Instead, we'll be waiting in Cape Town, because that'll be another 3-week or so stopover, extended Christmas, and that's the end of leg 3, okay? And then when they sail up through the South Atlantic to Recife, we will be waiting in Recife, and that's the end of leg 4, and then we head across to Antigua, and we're waiting to finish. Hard to talk about. So because it's part of the challenge, part of the deal is to make your way through. And it means that we still, we monitor everything, we do all sorts of things, but we leave it up to them to carry on. So that's another little side comment. Anyway, 2029 is a long way away. Okay, Adrian, will Kerry be using sheet to tiller to get some rest? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. The reason I say that is to sail sheet to tiller, you have to balance the boat really well and stop it rounding up. And the reality is that you'd have to be going super duper slow there. So he's not going to do it for a performance thing. He'll keep driving as hard as he can. So then what's he do with if the tiller pilot's not working? So in that sense, he'd have to probably, something like that. I'm not sure what he would do. He wouldn't hove to. He wouldn't want to stop. He'd have to just slow the boat right down and and possibly go sheet to tiller. I don't know whether I suppose you're right. You'd probably have to. It's better than stopping. It's quite an art. I've only tried it a few times, never really with much success, but I always had the information with me on the little boats when I was way back then, back in the late 70s and through the 80s. I was out for 3 years cruising on the little boat, and I always had the info there on how to do it and why you should do it, but it's very hard with a 580 type boat, so I'm not sure what happened. In the case of Trekker originally had no wind vane. He didn't put a wind vane on until he got to New Zealand. And what he did is he copied the wind vanes that were used on model yachts. That's where it all came from. The guys that were building all these big pond yachts started to make little wind vanes on it. They worked it out, and people would see what's going on there, and they copied it. And that's exactly what what John Guswell did. He copied the model yacht wind vanes, but until then he was just balancing the boat. That's why it was a ketch rig, because you normally don't need a ketch rig on a little boat that size. But if you do, your mizzen can become a very powerful balancing tool to do the boat. Same with the Hiscox. When you look at what they didn't have a wind vane, but they would use twins forward of the mast. Where the mast was, they'd have, if it's hard to explain, they'd have two opening sails, and those head sails didn't go down the forestay. They were lifted to the top of the mast, and they were tacked about 18 inches in front of the mast, one each side, just in front of the mast. So it was like a vertical luff, and then these two sails boomed out. So if you were going square, they were just out wing and wing. And if you wanted to alter course, you'd bring one in like that, so that then the V is facing, say, over one side of the boat, and that was your weathercock, and it would keep pulling the boat down the trade. So they use those unique type twins, not what you've seen anywhere, because no one ever does it now, to set the boat up and sail down the trades without having to steer. And they'd use those for weeks on end. It's quite. I've still got all the books. That was my school days. I learned a lot from the Hiscox. They're voyaging under sail and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, we digress. I better get off. Okay, sounds like herding cats. Yes, it is sometimes, but it's all fun. I'm late, but I'm here. Fabulous, thanks, Jonathan. Chris, they will transit the canal and road trailer. Yeah, that's right. We just got to find the trailer. Lots of backstories to that. No worries, Richard. Love the start. Great to see Dan Turner doing well. Yeah, it's good, eh? Watching Kangaroo Island. Ooh, beautiful place. Great whiting down there. Whew. I watch all the pictures on Channel 7 Fishing Guide in South Australia, my hometown. Anyway, that's cool. Jonathan, is Coconut going through the canal? Yes, he's going through. He's hired an agent to do everything. Interesting. He won't mind if I tell you the cost, because people want to know things like that. I think it was about €4,000 or something to do everything for you. And you can't book a slot until you're actually there. You can set everything up with your agent. I think it was euro, or was it Australian? I forget. It was 4,000 anyway. And until you're actually on the ground there, they won't let you book a time slot. And what they do is he will actually go through and practice first as a line handler, because every boat has to have 4 line handlers. And so often they'll get on someone else's boat and go through to give them a hand as they go through the canal, come back, get on their boat, and then they'll get other volunteers to get on their boat to be line handlers. So every mooring line has to have one person, so they can adjust it all the time. So he's quite looking forward to that, I think. And I think Jill's on board. His partner will be on board for a lot of the legs, but not all the legs, I think. Who's selling their boat? Oh, well. Neil's Biggest Monkey, with all those fantastic photos when they met up with the rower. Neil's has his boat for sale. It's seriously for sale. It's organised to be shipped back to Europe. I think he's on a ship in a few weeks, going back with some of the Caribbean 600 boats here. They left today. They started the Caribbean 600 today. So they took off, and they're sailing all through the islands for 600 miles, come back, have a big party, and then bugger off. I got a funny story. I got told off by a bloke for saying the word bugger off. He said, "How dare you say bugger off?" Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they'll come back and they'll bugger off. And so Niels will get on the ship with them and sail the boat back, or take the boat back to Europe, and then it's up for sale. And it's a great boat, very cool boat, ready for the Transat in 2 years' time, single-handed or two-handed. So, and at the moment, I don't know of any other, or there's one other boat for sale, but it's a professionally built boat, and I think it wants about 75, 80 grand or something for it. So, then the other one was Jim's boat, which is also for sale, which Tom had, young guy that was going to do the MTR. You've probably seen it's advertised on the Facebook 580 Builders Group, so you can check that out. But Niels is a very good boat, ready to go. Don, you can turn on live chat repeat on the YouTube to help with questions on YouTube. Okay, but I'm seeing YouTube people here. Like Warren, you're on YouTube, I can tell. I've got a little YouTube signature in my little console on the side. John Pinto's Facebook, so he's a Facebook guy. So in these sessions, it's really cool. We weren't able to do that like a year ago. We could only get one. We never got YouTube, but now we do. So we're responding to YouTube people, which is cool. And we're happy about that. Oh, I just lost my place. So that's cool. Will Kerry be using Sheep Tiller? We've gone through that. Warren, Chris, the Transit Canal, seen that. Scott, love the start. Great to see Dan Turner. Yep, Kangaroo Island, got that. Who's selling the boat? Got that. Jenny Sinclair. Oh, g'day. What's going on with questions two? Question two. Nothing. He's doing a qualifier. Okay. There's a little sentence in our press release that just went out this morning, just explaining that. So he's not actually an official entrant yet. He has to finish 600 miles solo non-stop in the current voyage, and then he will have finished his qualification requirements. He shipped the boat in from Australia, and the container was a couple of weeks late, 2 or 3 weeks late, so he just couldn't get it together in time. And so as soon as he's finished the qualifier, he rejoins the race, but the clock has started on him for this leg, so it puts him at a disadvantage, but he's just happy to carry on. He wants to catch us all in Panama. So good luck, Gary. Gary. Does Gary have one of those EPIRBs that have been giving? No. His was a different situation. This is a little Ocean Signal PLB1, and I'm not sure. I did ask him, but I've completely forgotten now. He had was it Ocean Safety 400 or something? He had a 400 one, but yeah, those other ones are a big problem. We had a false alarm with one of those. The combined AIS PLBs are proving to be very problematic with many false alarms. Okay, but not only that, there's another significant reason. I've explained this other times. When you've got a separate PLB and a separate AIS beacon, I haven't got mine because I've lent it to one of the entrants. If you're dead ship, as in power, you have no power, you're blacked out, and so you can't use your AIS on board. You can't use anything because you've got no electricity, and there's a ship bearing down on you, and you've got your portable PAB, your personal AIS beacon. If you're worried, you turn that on, and the bridge will light up, because you go and the alarms go off on the AIS and all that, and they will start looking for you because it says there's someone in the water in distress, but it's localized. It doesn't go through the local user terminal, satellites, rescue coordination centers, and you can turn it off just like that. Once you get, someone will probably get on the radio, oh, where are you, blah, 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 or whatever. So they're a good signaling device, a PRB. It's not just if you fall in the water. So I hope you're well, Jenny. I'm assuming it's the same Jenny. Does Gary have, okay, Warren, Don, you can turn on live, can see that. Friend report, Pacific side is very short on space. Oh, yeah, there's going to be a problem, and I've already explained that. In fact, it's a problem all the way through. So if we get over to the other side and Flamenco have nowhere where they can stuff in the boats, we've got a couple of fallback positions. One is to anchor out, and they've all got tenders, virtually all of them. We've advised them you better have a tender, and the most cutest one is Jasmine. She's got this really amazing little tiny tender. So most of them got mini tenders. If they've got anchor out, so be it. There's a spot around the corner. It's the Bilbao Yacht Club, I think it is, or whatever it is. There's a couple of spots. So first preference, or the thing we like, is Flamenco Bay. If there's no spot there, they're going to have to go around. There's another club just around the corner. If there's no spot there, they might have to go further down and anchor out. But as long as we get back in the water. So there's lots of grey areas, but we join the queue with everyone else. It's peak season. Arriving in Papeete is the next nightmare. There will be no space. You cannot pre-book a berth anywhere. You have to turn up, and when you're there, they'll find out. And what we hope is that they realise that the 580s are tiny. They can poke into places where other boats can't go, and they can raft up. So, but anyway, it's an adventure, and every adventure has an unknown outcome. So that's the same if you're a cruising boat. So we'll all be in the same boat. So thanks for that intel. Can you explain transporting Panama? I just did all that. So flying by the seat of your pants in Panama. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. I've been working on that since June of last year. So that was a bit of Monty Python, that one, to get the call finally on Friday. Sorry, we can't do anything. But we have a plan, and there's a few other things that are too hard to explain. But Dan Turk, Canada Dan, knows a guy who then, okay, should I say? No, I won't say anything because there's a connection there. But anyway, we've got a few ideas, all right? So it's not a lost cause. And we don't want to take the keels off. If we took the keels off, it'd be easier, but we don't want to go there. So is Captain Coates planning to stick him with the fleet, or will he sail on ahead? He'll probably sail on ahead if he can keep up, because if he gets there early, he'll help with some of the planning we've got going on as well. And there's our friends, now I've forgotten their name, sailing a Rustler 36. He's following the fleet around as well. We've got 2 boats, but he doesn't have a YB tracker at the moment, and he was threatening to get one just so he could get on the tracker. But he's sort of helping. He was helping the entrance here as well and all that stuff. He got a beautiful Rustler 36 or another bloody Rustler, if you know the deal, what that means. That's kind of fun. We actually did have the idea of organising and coordinating a group of 6 or 7 boats to follow the fleet around and have them as, we had a name for them, but it was we were too busy to organise it. Maybe for 29 we'll do that. So Rachel, €4,000 help. I think it was either 4,000 Australian or euro, I'm not sure. When is the entry form coming for the next Transat? As soon as we get a break. If you're ready to enter, stand by. I think we said before it might be sometime after March when we get away from Panama and we finally get to catch our breath. So it's not far away, but don't worry, you'll get a spot. It's not, we've restricted the fleet size, but it's not going to be too bad. Everyone says they want to go, but when they realise what's involved, you'll see the numbers shrink dramatically. Anyway, hi. Oh, hello, Annie. Whew, we'll be back soon. I haven't seen you for ages. Coconut's a Lalo 34 from South Africa. Yeah, sure is. Lalo 34, amazing boat. It had already been around the world, I think, before Mark bought it, and then it did a second from Cape Town to Australia. Happened to be in Adelaide, I think, when he decided to join the race, and that's good. So Lalo 34's big history in out there, designed and built in Cape Town. Very inexpensive, and we've got some friends refitting one right now. So a lot going on. I think we're just about done. G'day, Les, Adrian, Tony. Great answer for my chic Tiller. Yeah, thanks. Bugger off. Yeah, it was very funny. Okay, talking to Tom, lovely boat. Graham, I'm talking to Tom. Oh, good. Yep, it's a cool boat, built really well. He had hundreds of thousands of people watching him build that boat on TikTok when it goes on. Why has Neil's got compression socks? I don't know. You'll have to ask him. Obviously, blood pressure thing. Maybe, I don't know. We don't go into medical stuff. Love the monitor wind vane. I had a monitor wind vane on my BOC boat in 1990, but I didn't use it. Strangely enough, I was the Aries agent back then, and then Nick Franklin sadly passed away, and we couldn't get supply for a while, and had to have a wind vane back up. Put it on, never used it. Monitor's cool. And a few of them did the GGR and had big issues, and so then that started the process of us having to approve wind vanes for the Golden Globe because there's safety equipment in the Southern Ocean. If your wind vane fails in the Southern Ocean, then you're basically in big trouble. And so now there is I'll put it to you like this: it was agreed on the modifications that were being made, and monitored complied with all that and helped, and they realised that they need to change a few things. So we call it the GGR version of the monitor, which I think now has been incorporated into all of them because there were problems with Susie Goodall's, problems with Vig's. There was a few problems with monitor, but now they're perfectly good. They're basically a copy of an Aries, the original Aries, and they're quite good. No problem at all. Just a bit of history there. I think we're done. Just quick, you used up all my data. Remember, I'm on Jane's phone data. Contact Niels on Facebook. He's okay. Yeah. He'll let you watch the boat tour and give you a good price. Okay. All right, that's it. Thank you very much, everybody. So, not sure when the next one might be because we're traveling from tomorrow night. I might be able to do one tomorrow afternoon or something, but keep watching and we'll drop them in whenever we can. So, and we really appreciate everyone following. The important thing is, if you haven't liked or followed the MGR Facebook page, please do. The main reason is, we put the post up there, and I forget which one it was, and we had 100 likes or something. Maybe it was the picture gallery. And I checked because I can see behind who's actually following us, and there was 30%. There was only 30% of the people that were there, which is actually pretty good. Sometimes only 10%. So that means 70% of the people that are doing emotions have not followed. Press the button, please. We love that because we're not even up to Transat's more important than the MGR at the moment. So please like, follow, share, tell your mates, and have fun. See you later. Thanks a lot. Oh, I've got to press this button now. Oops, that one. And that one. I'm getting rusty. Come on.
Witness history in the making. The McIntyre Mini Globe Race